Even if you love somebody, you're gonna have to remind yourself that I should be nice to them, right? You know who really needs to do that? Women.
As a Gen Xer, we've had the opportunity to see Western society change, whether you call it evolving or devolving. And one of the things that I would speak to is that as far as even junior high school and high school, as Gen Xers, we were taught that we should just be polite. Be polite to all the girls. Girls should be polite to guys. Girls should be polite to each other. Boys should be polite to each other. And so there are times when the pretty cool girl in class will be polite to the boy that nobody wanted to date, or they'd be polite to the fat boy or the boy that was awkward. And even if she didn't like him, he had the opportunity for someone to be polite to him that was attractive. But now in today's society, where you don't have to be polite if you think that you're the bomb, you see that guy's beneath you. So instead of being polite, you just be, I guess, what you see a lot on social media. And so for a lot of guys, it tends to desperation.
Yeah. How not nice you guys are is why guys are so funny. It's the humor. Guys are funny because of the collective hopelessness of our situation.
What's funny about this is that if you are a young man in the West and you've gone through the difficulty of just being the oddball that's not getting attention, then you can say, well, is it going to get any harder than this? Because for many guys, when they consider being a passport bro or doing something different than the traditional norms in terms of dating, people will tell them, you know, all kinds of things to scare them that you'll hear later. But if you're a guy and you have this kind of, you know, experience, it actually prepares you to become a guy that goes overseas.
I had one of the greatest runs in Hollywood history. 8 #1 movies, all over 100 domestic, biggest global movie star, all of that, and my family was miserable. I had equated winning with happiness, right? It's like, we're winning. What is y'all problem?
The enigma with Will Smith is that he's the guy that society told men to be. He's thoughtful, he cares about his wife, he's a high performer, he's doing all of these things. He loves his kids, as much as I can tell, and yet he talks about being at the zenith of his career and his family was miserable instead of being happy for him. And so in this environment, guys in the West are just getting thicker skin. They're being forged by a fire that's hotter in the dating market than it is anywhere else. The equivalent of Will Smith in almost any other country is getting loved on by his wife. But in our environment, he's getting humiliated by his wife on a daily basis. And this is the environment for a lot of guys. So when you hear the conversations about, well, you're going to not have success overseas. Well, if you're used to playing basketball or football in 130-degree heat, and then you get to play it in 90-degree heat, it's not as hard, is it?
In this peculiar corner of the world, a husband can be acquired for a mere 300 to 500 yen. When a man ventures into the bride market, a swarm of eager girls surrounds him, each hoping to quickly sell herself into matrimony. In a region where the female population significantly outnumbers the male, the competition is fierce, with some girls going to extreme lengths to secure a prospective groom.
A video like this is hard to believe for guys in the West, but there are places where when guys are looking for a wife, they go to places where women want to be wives and they go get one. Heck, ask the New York Times. A popular Vietnam export, brides, August 24, 2008. Nearly 70 young Vietnamese women swept past in groups of 5s, twirling and posing like fashion models, all competing for the hand of a Taiwanese man who had paid a matchmaking service about $6,000 for the privilege of marrying one of them. Sporting jeans and a black t-shirt, 20-year-old Lee Thi Nhuk Queen paraded in front of a stranger hoping that he would select her. I felt very nervous, she recalled recently as she described the scene, but he chose me and I agreed to marry him right away. Like many people from the Mekong Delta island of Tan Loc, Quinn had concluded that finding a foreign husband was her best route out of poverty. 6 years later, she has a beautiful daughter and no regrets, she says. From the Delta in Vietnam's south to small rural towns in the north, a growing number of young women are marrying foreigners, mostly from Taiwan and South Korea. They seek material comfort and, most important, a way to save their parents from destitution in old age, which many Vietnamese consider their greatest duty. Queen has not gotten rich. Her husband earns a modest living as a construction worker, but the couple have paid off her father's debts. Young women have become Tonglok's most lucrative export. About 1,500 village women from the island of 33,000 people have married foreigners in the last decade, leading some to call it Taiwan Island.
Passport bros, watch out, because I'm giving you guys an advice. A lot of these girls, they don't really want you. They are seeing you as a meal ticket. They are seeing—
I'm sure some people will watch this video and sarcastically say that I'm advocating for mail order brides, and of course that's not what I'm doing. But what I am saying is that there are some countries where men, when they want a wife, they just go overseas and get a wife. And there's no big passport bros in Taiwan and South Korea. They're just guys that say, hey, I'm looking for a wife. I go where I can get one. And so what's interesting is, in a country where dating is more of a game for women than it is something that they have to do to survive, to get advice from women in such a situation where they're advising men who have had to get thick skin, or as Bill Burr said, men who have suffered quiet desperation, because most men just aren't getting a lot of attention. And so for a woman in such an environment to give advice to men who are looking for some kind of pleasant female interaction, it sounds tone deaf.
Passport bros, watch out, because I'm giving you guys an advice. A lot of these girls, they don't really want you. They are seeing you as a meal ticket. They are seeing you as a way to improve their future, help their families.
She treating that like a job. When she clock in, she doing whatever he say, keeping him happy. Out here got to deal with that shit and still get frustrated and annoyed. She telling you that, but she treating that nigga like daddy when he did.
So I've been married and divorced 3 times. And here are 3 reasons why I chose divorce over sticking it out for the kids. Number 1, if I have to be a married single mother, I'd rather just be a single mother. It's much easier that way. Yeah, it's hard work, and sometimes you don't understand where your next meal is coming from, or, you know, you got to figure out how you're going to pay the bills. But the emotional toll that knowing that you have to do everything by yourself when there's somebody perfectly capable with you right there is just something, it's like a weight around your neck.
If you come from an environment where it's normal to hear a young lady get married and get divorced 3 times and talk about not being married because she doesn't want to be a married single mother, or I'd rather be a little bit unhappy and struggle with my kids by myself than to be in a marriage where I'm a little bit unhappy, it speaks to the fact that marriage is just simply not a need. And so if you're marrying someone that doesn't need to marry you, they're just simply going to treat you differently. And if you married someone that sees a need in marriage and a need in being with you, it's just going to create a different dynamic. And so to be in such an environment and hear those particular ladies say things like, they're just going to use you for money. Well, in this particular case, unless she's getting $0 from all of her ex-husbands and the children that they made together, she's getting provisioning from those men while not being in marriage and prospectively looking for husband number 4. And so for a lot of guys that are looking at the way that dating is kind of transpired in the West, I would just say that you come from a place where you've been, I guess, forged by steel. You're dating one of the most difficult places to date, and so you're going to get more pleasant interaction by default. And so if you're coming from a place where you've gotten very little, if any, pleasant interaction at all, then just going to a restaurant is going to be nice because you're going to get polite, pleasant interaction. Going to a nightclub or just going to a regular dance spot or something where people are gathering and they're just fundamentally nice and polite, that in itself is going to be enough for a lot of passport bros to just be happy. And so, guys, you're going to hear a lot of people say they want you for your money, but that's the game. It's the game everywhere. If you don't have money, girls are not going to want you. The difference, of course, is how much more do they appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.